Let's talk about what has been going on in Prime Minister's questions. Quite a lively one, it sounds like, and certainly it looks like a major government announcement on the cards. Peter Cobble, tell us what happened.
Massive U-turn in response to a planted question from a Labour backbencher called Sarah Owen. Keir Starmer said that he's almost certainly going to U-turn on winter fuel.
It's such a big issue this has been for the last year.
That's right. It's probably going to, the U-turn is probably going to come in the spending review that's coming on the 7th of June. This has been denied by the government for quite a long time, but unsurprisingly, they've changed their mind. This is what Keir Starmer said.
There's been an awful lot of mood music about this, a lot of discomfort, not just from the public at large, but also Labour backbench MPs and within the cabinet as well. Let's have a watch and a listen of what he had to say.
As the economy improves, we want to make sure people feel those improvements in their days as their lives go forward. And that is why we want to ensure that as we go forward, more pensioners are eligible for winter fuel payments. As you would expect, Mr. Speaker, we will only make decisions we can afford. That is why we will look at that as part of a fiscal event.
Mr. Speaker, it's extraordinary listening to that last answer from the Prime Minister. Inflation was 2% when Conservatives left office. 2%. It's now nearly double that. When will he recognise that it's Labour's budget driving up inflation?
I think what she forgot to say was over 11% on their watch, and she didn't say a lot. I am confident those numbers will come down, Mr. Speaker. The Bank of England is confident those numbers will come down.
Well, I mean, again, quite lively. Kemi Badenoch, I suppose, rather wrong-footed, I think, perhaps, a little bit by that announcement. That will be welcomed by Labour backbenchers. Will it be a game-changer at all for Labour poll ratings and their chances of the next local elections and the general election, 28, 29, whenever it is? Because isn't a lot of the damage already done?
Yes, it is. And you look at how far Labour are down. They're second to Reform UK. You've got the Lib Dems in third. Kemi Badenoch's Conservatives are just at 16% in the most recent YouGov poll. It's really interesting when you look at how many Labour voters have moved to Reform. That's clearly happened in the local elections. It's probably going to happen in the general election as well. There was a big controversy as well at Prime Minister's questions about Angela Rayner. I haven't even got time to show it to you, Julia, about her asking for more taxes behind the scenes.
This is a memo we understand was sent in March to the Chancellor Rachel Reeves. Who is, again, you'd think they just put a post-it note on the fridge in the Downing Street fridge they pass by. But no, basically saying we want to load eight different tax rises, all basically on those rich people over there, fairly Corbynista in their feel,
Definitely,
I thought.
and certainly forgetting that people who earn over £100,000 pay 30% of the tax in this country, and a millionaire is leaving every 45 minutes. So there's a lot in that as well. Clearly some tensions behind the scenes. Winter fuel allowance will certainly be one of those, and Kemi Badenoch, I think, rescued her performance a little bit by being a bit performative in this next clip, saying, asking Labour MPs for a show of hands in terms of whether they actually wanted the winter fuel allowance to come down.
I love this. Let's have a watch and a listen.
He promised to protect pensioners, but his winter fuel cut has driven thousands into hardship. His MPs hate this. He can't see them, but they all look sick just hearing what it is he's going to do. So let's wait until... Oh, yes, they're laughing. They're laughing. They are laughing just as they laughed at the budget. Hands up who here wanted winter fuel cuts. Hands up. Not a single one of them. Not a single one of them. The fact of the matter is, this Prime Minister is destroying them. They need to look at what they are doing to the country. The truth is, we all know that there's this Prime Minister, this Labour government, and their policies that are shafting the country, isn't it?
Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, they look in pretty good form to me, and there's lots of them. Mr. Speaker, she talks about business confidence. Yesterday I didn't have time to read out the list of all the businesses that have come out in support of our EU deal.
I thought that was a little bit unsure-footed by Keir Starmer there. I mean, that was quite a fairly strong attack. The interesting thing with Keir Starmer is we've had these big announcements on, things like winter fuel allowance, from the Chancellor. But, at the end of the day, you're the Prime Minister. You're the First Lord of the Treasury.
That's it.
On immigration last week, on the EU, he constantly seems to be really, foreign aid last year as well, really upsetting his backbenchers, the left of his party, but never quite pleasing anyone to the right of him.
And there is a big question, as you correctly identify, Julia. You know, the immigration stuff was huge last week. There was loads of it. That certainly upset many on the left. Now he's upsetting people on the right of his party as well. Where is he actually going? Is the ground narrowing for him? The Lib Dems doing relatively well. Reform UK doing very well. There are lots of questions about what does Keir Starmer actually believe, and who is he trying to appeal to?
I know he believes in absolutely nothing other than no borders. I know that for sure. But you mentioned that poll, that YouGov poll. Reform at 29%. This is now becoming consistent, that they are going up and they maintain their leads, and they 22% for Labour. That is a massive fall from just under, 34% they got in the last election. It's just 10 months away as well. They should be riding high right now. And, of course, we saw them lose that Runcorn by-election. And they didn't lose too many seats in the local elections because they weren't fighting many. The Liberal Democrats at third place at 17%.
They'll be delighted with that.
I mean, absolutely.
Look, it's within the margin of error with the Conservatives at 16%.
But that is very damning. At the end of the day, we've got Keir Starmer is on the ropes, but Kemi Badenoch is also on the ropes massively as well, isn't she?
What we've seen in the last not even a year since the July the 4th election is both the Conservatives and Labour going down by about 10 points each in the polls. The beneficiaries of that, a little bit the Lib Dems, massively Reform UK, and we've seen that borne out in the local elections.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know you've got a clip of a former Reform UK.
We'll come to,
he's a current Reform UK.
We'll come to Rupert Lowe in a second, but actually Lee Anderson is our next clip.
Right.
He asked a question about immigration. Keir Starmer's answer, even by Keir Starmer standards, I think we've got to admit that this was quite funny about Nigel Farage's absence at the moment.
Oh, right, yes. We he was on holiday in France. The man was campaigning during the local election. Let them... You know, I will never criticise anyone for taking a holiday. This is Reform UK MP Lee Anderson asking his question. Let's take a watch and listen of that.
This Prime Minister, Mr Speaker, keeps telling his gullible backbenchers, those over there, that he's deported 24,000 people from this country since he came into power. But he won't say who these people are. Now, it's my guess that they are people that came on work visas, students, and they are simply overstayers. But I'm willing, Mr Speaker, to be proved wrong if you can answer one simple question. How many of these people that he's deported or failed asylum seekers that's come on small boats or on the back of lorries? Answer the question.
Prime Minister. Mr Speaker, I'm very proud that we've removed over 24,000 people. That's the highest record for nearly 10 years. We're taking other measures to get back control of our borders, including the Borders Bill. They don't want to fix this problem because it benefits them. It benefits them not to fix it. Party before country. It's very good he's standing in for the member for Clacton, I have to say. There was no sign of him yesterday at the EU. So he was the first through the E-gates somewhere to south of France. Nice work if you can get it.
That was a great gag. That was a great gag. Again, what annoys me, I don't want to boast up even before they announced it. You can already use e-gates under the EU rules. There's nothing in this that would change it, and it's not. I mean, they're going to be doing that biometric stuff, your fingerprint, your iris. I mean, seriously, we're going to be queuing for ages. And again, we did queue before we were in. But that's a great line. But I thought it was very telling when Keir Starmer corrected himself from saying people were deported, and then he corrected himself to say removed. And actually, and that's what Lee Anderson was saying. Answer the question. That's what that's about. Is actually a lot of the time.
How many actual failed asylum seekers?
And it's often voluntary removals, and people get paid. They can get up to $3,000 to basically get out, thrown out of the country.
All those people they should have left anyway. They shouldn't be here in the first place.
Well, look, let's go to the final clip, because this is the former Reform UK MP Rupert Lowe. What did he ask?
Asking about Lucy Connolly, and of course the Prime Minister, former lawyer himself, had to answer.
OK, let's have a watch and listen.
Does the Prime Minister agree that imprisoning Lucy Connolly, a young mother with a 12-year-old daughter, for one foolish social media post, soon deleted, is clearly not an efficient or fair use of prison?
Mr Speaker, sentencing is a matter for our courts, and I celebrate the fact that we have independent courts in this country. I am strongly in favour of free speech. We've had free speech in this country for a very long time, and we protect it fiercely. But I'm equally against incitement to violence against other people. And I I will always support the action taken by our police and courts to keep our streets and people safe.
It is fascinating that the Prime Minister keeps saying courts are independent, except, of course, he urged the courts to take a strong line back after during the Southport riots. So which is it?
Yeah, well, I mean, they act within the law which Parliament sets and the direction they get from politicians.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, that case is not going away anytime soon. Lucy Connolly's still behind bars until August or so. What did you make of Boris Johnson saying that Starmer's Britain is turning into a police state after that Court of Appeal decision?
Well, there was a very interesting tweet by a friend of mine. He said, "Hold on a second. What about lockdowns? What about the fact that people were..." Oh yes, it was you. That's right. It was your tweet.
Me.
Yes, your tweet said everything, Julia, in regard to Boris Johnson's hypocrisy on this. I mean, he's right, but he's also being a hypocrite.
Do you know what we haven't got to? We haven't got to David Lammy totally embarrassing our nation on Israel. When you get praised by Hamas for a policy decision by the government, maybe you're not making the right policy decision. Well, there's an awful lot going through. You covered a lot of ground there, Peter Cobble. I know. When are you back on air?
4 o'clock today.
So he's doing every single day. Get your little violin out. Get your little violin out. Peter Cobble having to be on air. We love having you on air. Great to have you, Julia. Thank you.